Back to the Taking the Lead Media Podcast, broadcasting from the island of Oahu. My name is Onofre, and this is episode 144. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode. The track you just heard is titled Best of Me. The band is Jocko, based out of Omaha. The album is titled Expression. Originally released back in 2018, the album got the vinyl treatment through Dog Ears Records and released last year. And it's available in 3 colors, clear orange, clear purple, and black. But I think the orange is out, and so are the test presses. And it was re-released with new cover art during Black Friday, but I think that is out as well. Cassettes are available too if you're into that through Not Normal Tapes. And what I like about Expression is that it's a pretty diverse sounding album, and if you listen to the opener, No Money, No Problem, it's pretty sporadic punk hardcore kind of song, but it's not that kind of album. It's a heavy album with hip hop kind of grooves, and you'll hear it in the vocals. It's apparent as the album progresses. A really dope album though. I really enjoyed this one. So up next is a track from Shin. They are a 4-piece from Pittsburgh, Steel City Hardcore. They released an album titled 2020 through 12 Gauge Records, and it's more than just a hardcore record. It's a lot of things actually. It's got elements of noise rock, screamo, and I use that term loosely. The album is experimental sounding. They blend lots of clean guitars with abrasive riffs, and it's often played in syncopated rhythms and spacey atmospheric patterns. Really good stuff. And I pretty much enjoy everything that 12 Gauge releases, so I went in blind when picking up this record, and very glad I did. 12 Gauge also released LPs by Ghost Spirit, Frail Hands, Heavy Lolo, and a split between Shin and For Your Health. Check out the 12 Gauge store on Death Wish. The track I'll be playing is actually the album's closer, and it's an unusual track compared to the rest of the album. The song opens up clean and very atmospheric with some saxophone too. Very cool sounding. The vocals are clean for a verse, and by the halfway point it gets into the heavy chaotic sounds like the previous tracks. The song is titled You Will Be Held Accountable for Your Actions. The album is 2020, and this is Shin.
Hollow.
So just like the last episode, I'm playing tracks from some of my favorite records of 2019. This episode though is focused on the heavier picks on my list. Up next is a track from the band Boredom, a rock hardcore type of band from Seattle, a 4-piece. The album is titled Ritualistic Time Abuser, released through Hex Records. And one of several records released from Hex last year, which turned 20. Ryan, the label head at Hex, did a retrospective kind of review history of each and every one of the label's releases, starting with number 1 up until the first release of 2019. It's all great stuff, and you can read up on it at hanginghex.blogspot.com. So for the Boredom record, if you like color vinyl, this album comes in 2 styles, opaque green and a purple green splatter mix, which I thought complemented the album artwork really well, which is basically, well, it looks like a supernatural creature, which I want to say kind of resembles, the Sarlacc monster from Return of the Jedi. Dope artwork though by Q Quigs. Boredom sound fits really well with the Hex roster. It's a bit, I want to say, a light sludge rock that's a bit upbeat with a punk attitude with lots of thick and fuzzy bass lines and guitars. Drummer Jeffrey Passo is also the drummer for The Helm, another Hex record band. But these are 2 different sounding bands. And that's probably what I like most about this record. It's mildly sludgy, kind of hardcore, and they turn it up if they want to. They speed it up into a frenzy, and you'll hear some of that on the record. Excellent tunes for sure. The track I'll be playing is titled Limb Alert. The album is Ritualistic Time Abuser, and this is Boredom. Alright, so that was Florida Man with the track Holy Roller off the album Tropical Depression, featuring 8 tracks of post-punk and rock, released through Spartan Records. And as far as color vinyl goes, Spartan did an awesome job with this release. So the album cover is the surface of an orange, and the vinyl was available in 2 styles. One is a picture disc, which looked really dope. It was the inside of an orange, so when you pulled the record out from the sleeve, it looked like a sliced piece of orange. Really cool. And the other style is called Patricia, which is an orange, white, black mix kind of splatter with a sliced orange in the middle. It's really sweet looking. And the picture disc is sold out. And I think the Patricia style was sold out at one point, and I think maybe a box was found or maybe leftover tour merch, but there's still some available at the moment. Aside from the cool wax, this album offers up some tight post-punk that borders noise rock and hardcore. The guitars can get psychedelic and raw, as do the vocals, and they offer up some interesting melodies. This album is my introduction to the band, and this be the band's second album. The Spartan Records roster is pretty diverse sounding, and my introduction to the label is actually because I read they were releasing Maze Records, May multi-sensory aesthetic experience. They're releasing their records on wax, and because of this label, I was introduced to some other cool bands like Over the Ocean, Young Fox, American Opera, Giant's Chair, Schematic, Demons, all good stuff. Alright, so before I get to the last track of the episode, some social media drops. Be sure to check out this podcast website, takingtheleadmedia.com. Check out the site for past episodes, links to respective bands on today's episode, and the occasional album and show review. Check out the show notes as well for timestamps and links. This show is also available on YouTube, search Taking the Lead Media, and on Tumblr at oneshotsideshow.tumblr.com. Do check out the podcast on iTunes if you haven't already, and hit that subscribe button too. If you got time to spare, please do leave a review and star rating for the show. Help the podcast climb the charts and suggest any improvements with the show. Hit me up on Twitter at TTLM Podcasts. I love the interaction on there. Please send love, hate, comments, questions, music submissions, recommendations, and any other general correspondence to my email, takingtheleadmedia@gmail.com. So the closing episode is a track from the band Glassing, a trio from Austin, Texas. The album is titled Spotted Horse, and it is amazing. It's minimal in the vocals, so you have long drawn out kind of ambient guitars and noise and chaos too. It gets heavy and aggressive, elements of post-rock, post-punk, loud guitars, and dark atmospherics. I think of bands like Junius and Comrades. Glassing, though, have tracks on this album that pass the 6-minute mark. Again, drawn out instrumentals, good stuff. For wax, this album came in 2 styles, clear, which is sold out. Black is only left, which I settled on. Vinyl is available through the band. I picked up mine through the label, Brutal Panda Records. The label also released Desperate Living, their debut EP, New Concrete, which features members of the Minor Times, who also had their first release through Hex Records. Just a little FYI. Again, this last band is Glassing. Check them out through Brutal Panda Records. The song is titled Sleeper. The album is Spotted Horse. My name is Onofre, and I'll be signing off until the next Taking the Lead Media podcast. Thanks for listening.